Hello students, today we are going to discuss about a condition about human health which is basically is a cause of worry for all of us today, because this is a condition which has caught up with the younger generation, especially the children and the adolescents, and due to their lifestyles and due to their various other activities, or due to their you can say their obsession with the technology and other things, that this is something which we are facing these days, the condition of obesity. So in this particular session, we will be discussing about what is obesity, what causes obesity, the remedies and prevention, and what is the role of the teachers, since all of you are going to be teachers, or you are the future teachers, how we as teachers can contribute towards the removal of this particular condition. Now, if we go into the basics of obesity, what is obesity? Now, Wikipedia has defined obesity as a medical condition in which excess body fat has accumulated to the extent that it might have a negative impact on health. And Center for Disease Control and Prevention USA has defined that weight that is higher than what is considered as a healthy weight for a given height is described as overweight or obese. Body mass index or BMI is used as a screening tool for making a person or for calling a person either overweight or obesity. Now we'll go into details of what is this body mass index or the BMI as it is called. Now, how do we know basically if somebody is obese or not? So we have this index which is known as body mass index. Now, how is this body mass index or BMI calculated? It can be calculated by dividing a person's weight by the square of a person's height, that is kilograms over meter square, that is kilogram is in the weight and height to be measured in meters. So this is how we calculate the BMI. Now, there are certain indicators for BMI in order to categorize a person, whether a person belongs to comes under what category. So if somebody has a BMI of 18.5, he or she is considered to be underweight. If somebody has a BMI between 18.5 to 24.9, BMI is considered to be normal or healthy weight. If somebody is having BMI between 25 to 29.9, the person will be categorized as overweight, or anybody over 30 and above is considered to be obese. Now, what are the causes of this obesity? We all keep on hearing lots about it in the newspapers and all. So let us try to see what actually basically causes obesity. Point number one is basically, we all know very well about it, consuming too many calories, and also calories which are very high in fat, saturated fats or carbohydrates. Leading a sedentary lifestyle is a very major cause of obesity. That means people not willing to go out and play or indulging in any kind of physical activity. Now, what has happened over the years is that there is a marked difference in the lifestyles which have been adopted by people, but consequently we have not changed much of our calorie intake. So previously people, or our previous generations, were into eating a lot, but at the same time doing lots of physical activity, traveling long distances on foot and all. But these days people are not willing to travel even a distance of say 1 or 2 kilometers on foot. So all of these basically they have created a problem, and this leads to obesity. So our calorie intake has not come down, but yes, our physical activity has actually gone down. Sleep debt. Now this is something which many of us are facing with, both children, adolescents and adults also. Now what is this sleep debt? Sleep debt is basically deficiency in sleep. For say adults, say 6 to 8 hours of sleep is required. For adolescents or children require a greater number of hours to be taken to when they should be sleeping, but due to various reasons, basically because of lifestyles, parents are returning late, and so the children are also up for late hours. Morning they have to go for their schools and all. So there is this sleep debt or deficiency in sleep, and it accumulates over a period of time, and when it accumulates over a period of time, it leads to obesity. And for adults, yes, with working and playing and all of other things, and especially the lot of you can say reliance on social networking, and there are people addicted to their technology, mobile phones or tabs or other things, and gaming also, especially in case of say the adolescents, the young adults. It's a major cause of worry, because people are not actually playing physical games, but they are not sleeping at all, and then they are addicted to their devices, which is creating a lot of problem. Drug induced weight gain, there are certain medicines which again lead to weight gain and major cause of obesity. And then there are certain environmental factors. Now what are these environmental factors? The environment in which we are operating. Say there is paucity, or there is lack of open spaces around us. Most of us are living in either concrete jungles where there are not enough places to go and play, or to have a walk, or to have some kind of jogging and all, or people have to travel to long distances in order to do their jogging. And so this creates lot of, you can say, a great amount of, you can say, motivation is required in order for people to go and do any of these physical activities. So these environmental factors also have a lot of role to play in making people obese. Then comes the emotional factors. When we are emotionally distressed, everybody has a way of coping up. So if we are not feeling well, something has gone wrong, so the most, you can say, immediate urge is to go to the fridge, open and let's have whatever is there, or go to the market and just binge upon things. Or if we are not feeling well, so there are lots and lots of people who feel good after, having something. So it's not basically about hunger or you can say, the need for food. At times food is just had for some other reason. So these are emotional reasons, emotional factors. Especially people binge on chocolates and all when they are not in very good mood. So these are some of the emotional factors which actually causes obesity. These days parents are also and they don't have time to play with children or give time to the children. They want to overcome this feeling. They will give whatever the child has. The child says, okay, I want chocolates, I want burger, I want pizza, or any kind of other you can say not so healthy food. Parents have a tendency to give in. Another factor which is contributing to the cause of obesity is health conditions like hypothyroidism, that is underactive thyroid, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. These are some of the health conditions, and there are many others. These are not the only two health conditions which leads to obesity. There are many other conditions which leads to obesity, and these are just a few of them. So, and then their genetics also have a role to play. If the parents are obese, the propensity or the probability of their children also being obese is quite high as compared to other children. So genetics also have a role to play in this. Now, let us try to see the effects of obesity. If you look into the newspapers, almost every second day item comes signifying the detrimental effects of obesity. This is a news article from Times of India dated 28th of August 2016 that obesity sparks 8 more types of cancer. So it's quite dangerous, much more dangerous than what we actually perceive. Effects of obesity: high blood pressure, so high incidence of hypertension, diabetes, especially the type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, especially the coronary heart diseases. So these are some of the very serious side effects which obesity does have on people. Joint problems like osteoarthritis, because joints have to undergo a lot of stress if the person is overweight. Over a period of time, people are more prone to development of these diseases of the cartilage and all. Sleep apnea and respiratory problems. Now, sleep apnea is when, due to obesity, while sleeping, people have this tendency of stopping breathing for a little while. Now, this happens because of obesity, that people are not able to breathe. And another problem that comes with obesity is the respiratory problems. Now, what are these respiratory problems? At times, because of again lot of fat which gets accumulated, the lungs don't have enough space to you can say breathe in and breathe out. So there is a restriction of space for the lungs, and this creates lot of respiratory problems. It creates cancer, and at lots of places like say of esophagus, stomach, pancreas, and many other body parts. Gallbladder diseases are quite common because of obesity, and we cannot ignore those psychological effects. People who are obese, one is their self-image. Many times, it's not a rule generally, but yes, many times we do come across the children, or especially the adolescents who are overweight or obese, they have a kind of a negative self-concept, or it might have an effect on their self-esteem also. So because children these days and children are getting obsessed with their physical appearance, and that this happens at a comparatively lower, I mean at a younger ages. So children who think or who do get to know, because children can at times can be very cruel also. So children, when they get you can say other children are making fun of them, so they it greatly affects their self concept, and it leads to a lot of other complexes also. So it has a lot of psychological effects on the individual, anybody who is obese. Now, how do we prevent this condition? How do we prevent this problem? What are the, now there are two ways of doing it. One is the proactive measures, the other one is the remedial measures. Now proactive measures is basically let this condition not come. So how can we proactively do things so that people don't become obese in the first place at all? So focus on lots and lots of physical exercise, and yoga has to be there. And India as a country who is a pioneer in the field of yoga, and all over the world people are understanding the importance and you can say the benefits of yoga. So why not we as educators should be focusing more on yoga, so that our students, they are also into yoga and lots of physical exercises. Students should be encouraged to go to playground during recess and games period. Now what happens in many of the schools is students are restricted to go to the playground during recess and games period because of restriction of space, or due to other reasons, say managerial or administrative reasons, students will create chaos or somebody will get hurt or something like that. So yes, these factors have to be taken into consideration, but yes, students should be, or children by nature, they playing is their second nature. So children have to be encouraged to go to the playground and during recess times, during games period, and should be encouraged to indulge in lots of physical exercises, running, playing lots of games. Focus on life skills. Now these days CBSE is focusing quite a lot on life skills. So if you talk of life skills, they are basically of three types: thinking skills, emotional skills, and social skills. Now each of these life skills, if you talk of thinking skills or social skills, now we all understand that physical exercises have a very positive impact on the psyche of a person, and it improves the blood circulation, it improves the concentration level of individuals, and it improves the interaction of people amongst themselves. So playing of these physical games do have a lot of, you can say, positive impact on the learning of life skills also. So physical education by way of life skills, or having life skills by way of physical education, and physical education contributing a lot towards the life skills, is a very important aspect which we as teachers or educators should not ignore. Now another point which I would want to put across is food available in the school canteen. These days, if you have a look at any of the regular school canteen, you will generally find that different types of burgers, noodles, or say some other forms of junk food are generally available, and children buy these food and they prefer having these foods to things like rajma chawal or chole chawal or dal chawal. So if compulsorily school management takes these points into consideration and they try to have only the healthy food available in the school canteen, it will basically initiate the students into healthy food habits. It's basically children at times they don't get lunch because we'll have something in the canteen, and canteen where all that is available is the junk food. So this is something which has to be taken into consideration. Then there are celebration of days like Yoga Day, Health Day. Another practice which all teachers do with their classes is having class picnic, and it's a very good idea that having class picnics. But yes, generally what the teachers say is, okay, what is your favorite fruit? Okay, what is your favorite vegetable? Okay, we'll have a class picnic, bring your favorite food. Now children, as it is, they eat their favorite food, and children, especially small children, are very choosy about food. They don't like food, they don't like eating green vegetables like spinach or say bitter gourd or gourd. These are some of the things which children generally don't like having. So, and the teachers, by way of these measures, they kind of reinforce that okay, it's okay to be, we should be basically celebrating the foods that we really enjoy. Why not have class picnics of the food which children generally do not like? Say for example, a class activity can be done wherein the students are asked, okay, what is that food which you don't like, which you don't eat? And children will come up with number of food items. Okay, I don't eat this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Okay, one day we'll have a picnic with all the favorite foods, one day we'll have a picnic with all the not so favorite foods, and make it as a game. Now these are some of the measures which teachers can adopt in order to inculcate healthy food practices among children while they are still young, so that at least, I mean, they can get into this habit, or they will develop their taste buds for the other types of foods also which they don't really enjoy, having different food items from different days. So keeping in mind the requirements or calorie requirements and keeping in mind the nutritional requirement of the children, the teachers can have different food items planned for different days so that children are able to have different types of food items. Making participation of each and every student in some physical sport compulsory. This is something which is very important, that the importance of physical sports have to be emphasized, and it should be made mandatory so that every student becomes passionate about some sport or the other. And we say that everybody needs to be passionate about some sport, some musical instruments, some these are some of the good things in life which everybody should enjoy. Now that was about the proactive measures. Now we come to the remedial measures. If somebody is already obese, so what do we do about that? So first of all, the thing which the teachers need to do is not labeling or branding the child. Now children, especially young children or pre-adolescent children, they are into this name calling business. Now anybody who is obese is called by certain specific names. I will not name those names, but I'm sure all of you can relate to those names. So at least teachers not calling those children by those names. At times it has been seen that even the teachers start calling children by those specific names given to those two children. So not labeling or branding the child also, calling about somebody. So these are some of the things. And then sensitizing other children and the children involved. This is something which should be taken into consideration, and this sensitization is required to be done. Talking to obese children on an individual and group level. That means it's not that okay, I want to talk to you and I want to talk about your condition, not in that formal manner, but yes, talking to children, okay, what do you eat, and how many times you eat, or what do you like to have, what do you don't like to have, and trying to find out okay, what is the reason for obesity. There can be certain reasons which are basically genetic in nature, or maybe certain reasons basically which are lifestyle kind of reasons, or some other problems are there, that food is not being cooked at home at all. Every day the family is ordering things from outside. So talking to children and trying to find out exactly what are the reasons for the children being obese. Remedial measures: arranging counseling for children and adolescents. Now if children are there, less talking to them, teachers can do that. And then if they find that there is certain specific problems are there or persisting, or children require some kind of counseling, so arranging or recommending children to the school counselor or a professional counseling service is recommended. Understanding the psychological effects obesity can have on children at different levels and addressing to them. So keeping in mind at what level the children are. Say if they are in their early childhood, or they are in their late childhood, or they are in their, you can say, the adolescent or the pre-adolescent stage. So understanding the level or the age level in which they are operating. So trying to understand what psychological impact can obesity have. Say if small children, they are generally very fussy about how the other children call them. So if the children are calling them names, it can have a very detrimental effect on the self-concept and this and self-esteem of children. So, and once this self-concept is negative at that particular stage, it requires lots and lots of efforts on the part of others to make children come out of that negative self-concept. So the efforts have to be that let that negative self-concept not develop. So the thing is working on both the levels, working on the obese child also and working on the other children, sensitizing of the other children also is required to be done. And the language which the teachers use at different stages in their classes, the language has to be taken into due consideration. Inappropriate language cannot or should not be used. It can have a different effect on adolescents. Adolescents may be aggressive or not being bothered about it at all, depending upon the kind of peer group they have. If everybody in their peer group is having the same kind of lifestyle, they'll be okay with it. So peer pressure creates a lot of this thing. So understanding all of those things, adequate measures need to be taken. Another thing is reinforcements and motivations have to be there as part of the curriculum. So the teachers need to reinforce the students if they are following something. Say for example, now the students come to them, okay, sir or ma'am, we are trying to do this, or I'm trying to take part in this, and the teacher asks, because teachers at many times they are supposed to act as counselors also. So if the students are coming to them and telling them, okay ma'am, I or sir, I am doing this, I'm taking these particular measures. So any small positive act has to be acknowledged, has to be encouraged and reinforced. So the teachers have to be very particular about this thing, that they do not, now children may be very enthusiastic about it. Okay, they're coming and telling, okay, the teacher that, okay, ma'am or sir, I have done this. But and teacher does not take any note of this particular thing. So that becomes a kind of, may become a little disencouraging for the child. So keeping these things in mind, the teachers have to recognize their role and the kind of prominence which they have in the psyche of children. Anything, especially for younger children, anything which the teacher says becomes the, you can say, patthar ki lakeer for them, that there is nothing beyond what the teacher says. So keeping in mind the kind of influence which the teachers have on the young minds, teachers can play a great role in making students more health conscious, and inculcating the right kind of eating habits among children and adolescents, and you can say inculcating the right kinds of love for playing, love for physical play and all of other things. So this was all about obesity. Now in this session we'll again try to recapitulate and see what all we have covered. In this particular session, we discussed what is obesity, the concept of obesity, how is obesity, and how do we basically categorize students or children or individuals who are obese. So we discussed about body mass index, the index which is basically used for categorizing people. We also discussed about the causes of obesity. We discussed about the effects of obesity. We discussed how can we counteract this obesity problem. So the measures that we discussed, they were under two categories, that is the proactive means ki what measures are to be adopted so that children or people don't become obese at all, and the remedial measures, basically ki if there is somebody who is obese, how do we go about handling that particular person. So these were all the topics that we covered in in this particular session. So I hope that you all as future teachers are going to be play a very effective role in making your students you can say healthy eaters, and let the future generation be very let us have a very healthy future generation. So thank you so much.